It's Sunday, March 23rd, 2025. Thanks for tuning in today. Really do appreciate it. 95 degrees here, out here in the desert of Southern California. Nice, but we're getting very, very close to summer, and those triple digits are not far away. But an absolute beautiful day today. We have a lot to talk about. As always, feel free to comment down below and share these videos. I want to start with this first article today coming from The Hedge. Replacing cash with digital dollar could pose a grave threat to our rights and freedoms. How many of you agree with this? I think this is one of the most dangerous things that could happen in this country is that we ditch the dollar and we jump in and start using CBDCs. 134 countries and currency unions have explored a CBDC, and 66 countries are already in advanced stages of implementation of CBDCs. I believe that cash remains essential to protect our rights and freedoms here in America. With digital transactions, think about how you're going to be surveilled. You're going to be watched. You could easily be controlled. This stuff is extremely, extremely dangerous. CBDCs open the door for governments to reward or penalize anyone for their personal choices, how they live, where they go, and what they do with their money. So think about how it could be weaponized, that if you get a certain group of people in political power, this could easily be weaponized. That, you know, we believe you shouldn't be buying this, you shouldn't be buying that. We don't think you should be able to use this medication, you shouldn't buy this type of security. We don't like this religion, we don't like this political party. You see where this is all going. Cash offers much more privacy and confidentiality. If you want to tip the babysitter, the landscaper, the pool cleaner, whatever, you know that that's private. You want to give somebody 20 bucks, 2,000 bucks. It's not going to be watched. It's not going, to be taxed. Just think about, oh yeah, you're going to pay your babysitter $20 and they're going to tax your $20. They're going to tax every last cent, ladies and gentlemen. And I think people better be very, very careful because they're selling their freedom for convenience. And I think that more people should be using cash now. And we're already basically using digital currencies. Everybody uses a plastic card, credit card, a debit card, an ATM card. But I really believe, and I try to make more of an effort to use more cash. I probably use 80 to 90% cash versus a card. No one knows how much gas you put in your car. Nobody knows what you had for lunch, how much you paid for lunch. Nobody is watching you when you're using cash as opposed to a CBDC, which could be tracked very, very easily, taxed easily, controlled easily, influenced easily. People better really wake up. But, it's all about convenience today. I get it. But people don't really understand the cost that they're paying for convenience. And I think CBDCs are extremely, extremely dangerous. Here's another one today. IRS braces for $500 billion drop in revenue as taxpayers skip filings in wake of Doge cuts at agency. Individuals are waging that auditors will not examine their accounts amid Doge's plans to downsize the IRS by 20% ahead of tax filing season. I would not be playing this game because if you get caught or when you get caught, the interest that they're going to charge you, and it's really just a matter of time. I believe nobody should be paying income tax, but while we have to, I would not be playing this game right now because if you get caught, the punishment could be very, very severe, and they're going to charge you interest at a minimum, ladies and gentlemen. So I think a lot of people actually are skipping paying their taxes because they're flat out broke. Not that they think they're not going to get caught. I think a lot of people they're broke. And this is just desperation that they're going to skip filings this year because They're broke. Here's another one today from The Hedge. Trump bleach bits Hillary Clinton's security clearance along with Harris, Blinken, Sullivan, and the Bidens. Revoked security clearances of 15 Dems. I already mentioned it. Clinton, Harris, Letitia James, Sleepy Joe, Liz Cheney, Alvin Bragg, Anthony Blinken, and so on. These people no longer have a clearance, and that means that a lot of these people now no longer can make money because they're selling this information, the secret information. They're able to go and sell this and make money, and now without access to this information, they are going to have a difficult time making money. So what do you think about this? I mean, what in the world do some of these people even need access to America's top secrets? What do they really need access to all this for? Why do they need these security clearances? They need it to make money, and of course it keeps them in tune on what's going on. And you know, some of these people, you may not agree, but some of these people are downright evil, and they really should have no access to this, and they certainly shouldn't be making money off of this. So I think that this is a really, really good move. Here's another one today. Trump administration to revoke legal status for 532,000 immigrants brought to the U.S. during the Biden Sleepy Joe administration. So this is going to be migrants from Cuba, Haitian migrants, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan. April 24th, the Biden humanitarian parole program will be terminated. What do you think about this? I think it's going to save America even more money. This is going to save millions upon millions of dollars right here, and I think it's very, very good news. Here's some more good news. U.S. Secretary Howard Lutnick said he sold 1,000 U.S. gold cards yesterday as he eyes national debt. That's $5 billion in revenue that could go towards the national debt, and they're looking to pay down, to sell enough of these cards to pay down $5 trillion of the national debt. These people who can afford to buy one of these gold cards, what are they, $5 million? That brings more business. That brings more tax revenue. That brings more innovation, more production, more manufacturing, more factories. I think this is a really, really good idea. And you're bringing people in that have something to offer America, people who have businesses, people who are educated, people who have innovation, people who share the same dream as most of us. And so you're not bringing in dirtbags. You're bringing in high quality people, mainly business people. And I think business is good for America. Just my thought. Here's one today. Where's this coming from? Wall Street Journal. Depressed Dems find hope at Bernie Sanders rallies. I got to ask all of you this. You may be Democrat, Republican, whatever you are. Is Bernie Sanders the new fresh face of the Democratic Party? Is it really this bad? Is it really this bad for the Democratic Party? It's almost really, really embarrassing. This guy is really, really sad. I know there's people that love him, but I mean, this is the best the Americans have, the Democratic Party has. I find it really, really hard to believe, but that's it. Here's another one today, New York Post. I was watching this video, you can Google it. Woman gets instant karma after trying to snatch MAGA hat off New York City strap hanger's head. Now I'm watching this video, and she is probably in her 40s or 50s, and she is berating this younger man, probably in his 20s, for wearing this hat on the subway. This happened Wednesday, 11:30 p.m. on a filthy Manhattan subway train, and this lady's verbally assaulting this young man, and there's other people on the train saying, hey, you know, leave him alone, that's his right, you know, actually defending him. And when everybody gets off the train, she tries to grab his hat and he moves away, and then she continues to move forward, and she is now, you know, literally getting physical with this kid and trying to grab his hat. He runs, she runs after him and falls down on her face. I bring this up, I mean, it is funny, but it's not, because you have people that are willing to go hands-on because you're wearing a red hat. You're wearing a specific t-shirt, and there are people willing, mentally disturbed people willing to go hands-on because they don't like your hat or your shirt. Nobody has, it doesn't matter what your shirt stands for, doesn't matter what it says, nobody has the right to go hands-on. Doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, nobody has the right to put hands on you or your car. People can say whatever they want to say, they can talk about whatever they want to talk about, they can make videos about whatever they want to make about, but nobody has the right to assault you or to take that hat off your head or to assault the vehicle you drive or the dealership you bought it from. This is way crossing the line. And she did get instant karma, but you know, this was a nice kid, nice guy, and she's going to come across somebody who's not so nice. And she's really, really lucky because I think some of you probably would resent the fact that somebody is trying to take the hat off your head or assault your vehicle. Not everybody's just going to stand there and take it and run away. And she's really, really lucky he's a nice guy because not everybody's a nice guy. What would you do if somebody was getting physical and wanting to take the hat off your head or assault your vehicle or assault you because they don't like what you're driving or what you're wearing? This is, you know, we're going to see more of this. And people should ask themselves this question. If you drive a certain kind of car, if you dress a certain way, if you say something, are you going to be able to protect yourself, defend yourself? Luckily, this kid was able to run. That was obviously probably the right decision, just run away and get away from it. But what if he couldn't run? And, you know, now somebody is assaulting him. You know, these are things that people really need to be talking about and addressing and be prepared for. You may have to defend yourself. China says it's ready for shocks as fresh Trump tariffs loom. Brace for impact, ladies and gentlemen. April 2nd. This could accelerate. China wants globalism. America wants nationalism. America wants to start making things right here and be less dependent on other countries. And let me ask all of you this. How long do you want to be dependent on China and other countries? But let's just say China. How long do you want to be dependent on China for your pharmaceuticals, for your steel, for everything at a Walmart, for everything at a Target, for everything at a Kohl's? Wouldn't it be refreshing to actually buy clothes made in America? Wouldn't it be nice to, not worry about pharmaceuticals being cut off, wondering like, what if we get into a dispute with China, they could cut my medication off, what would I do? Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to worry about that because it's made right here in America? What about chips? Wouldn't it just be nice to know that, chips are going to be made right here in America? I think we are a much stronger nation, correct me if I'm wrong, if we're making things right here in America. If all doors closed, if a world war broke out, that we can protect ourselves. We can feed ourselves, we can clothe ourselves, we can make our own chips, our own pharmaceuticals, our own shoes, our own tires, our own steel, all of which we're not doing right now. But wouldn't it be nice to know that we're self-sufficient, self-reliant as a country? Doesn't that make us a lot stronger? Isn't this how we used to be many, many decades ago before we sold out, for all these cheap goods, which today are no longer cheap? We sold out for cheap goods, and now the goods aren't so cheap, and the jobs are gone. And now people are getting very, very worried about jobs. And these cheap goods that are no longer cheap are going to look a lot more expensive if you don't have a job. So something to think about. I think that the more we can make here in America, doesn't mean we have to make everything here in America, but we should be making most things here in America. And we should, not be importing more food than we're exporting. That is very concerning, in my opinion. Why are we not growing more food in America? Not good. Missouri moving to seize China-owned farmland assets to collect landmark $24 billion judgment. So this is interesting. China right now has 44,000 acres of farmland in Missouri. Missouri says, hey, you cost us a lot of money during the health crisis, and we're blaming you for it, and we want you to pay us back. You owe us $24 billion. So we're going to start with seizing Missouri farmland, and then we're going to seize other farmland across America. Now, I don't know what will happen with this. Probably nothing, but it is a start. And I have to ask again, should this country be selling U.S. farmland to countries like China? First off, I think we shouldn't be selling our farmland to any country. We should be growing more food than ever and selling it, or helping out third world countries. But I certainly don't think we should be selling farmland to China, especially near military bases, for God's sakes. So what are your thoughts on this? Very, very interesting. But we'll see what happens tomorrow, the start of the week. Markets will be opening shortly this evening. We'll see what the metals do. Very, very interesting. But I think that a lot of people are going to get complacent again, hoping and praying that the Fed's going to cut a couple more times, and that's going to change everything in the housing market. The answer to me is not cheap credit, lower interest rates. This is where I totally disagree with the president. I think we need higher rates and lower prices. I think that what is going to happen in this economy is going to be a collapse. It needs to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be extremely painful. And I know a lot of people will probably blame this president. There's, a lot of hate for this president. I love how people come out and love to just say they hate this president who's done more in 2 months than the last Sleepy Joe president did in 4 years. It's very, very obvious. At least the guy's trying. And I'm going to call it the way I see it. I don't believe, as he does, in cutting rates and really putting pressure on the Fed to cut rates. I think that that's a big mistake. That's one of the reasons we're here where we're at right now. But a lot of the stuff this administration is doing, I support. I think that it's helping America. But I think people just believe that there's a magic pill, an easy solution to the disaster of decades and decades of money printing and this artificial debt creation that has been injected into the economy, into the markets, a Fed that ran wild buying mortgage-backed securities, making the housing bubble even bigger, manipulating the bond market. And people, are going to have to blame somebody, and they're going to blame this administration. As much as I hate to say it, this administration is going to have to deal with a collapse. And it'll be up to this administration to get this country back on the right track and, back to work, back to business. But I think it is going to get extremely rough. I do see, in my opinion, I think markets will come back a bit, and then they are going to collapse. They're in big trouble. And think about, just like the average household in America, how would people be feeding themselves right now, paying their utility bills if it wasn't for credit cards? Where would this economy be right now if the Fed wasn't printing all this money and injecting all this money that it has done for decades, especially the last decade? Where would we be right now without all this funny money, all this monopoly money that's been floating around? And there's a price to pay for this. And it's going to happen, I believe, truly under this administration, which I think is prepared to take the blame. But we'll see if they can get us out of it. That's going to be the thing. How brutal will this collapse be? How will it impact the economy and the average household? There's going to be a lot of pain to be felt out there, ladies and gentlemen. And so many people continue to just ignore the warning signs and continue with the party as the music plays. The ship is sinking, and they just figure they're gonna spend to the end, and they'll worry about it when they cross that bridge. You better get worried right now, ladies and gentlemen. The signs are flashing red everywhere. So get ready. And if that scares you, good. If you get nervous, if you're concerned, if you get worried, typically smart people take action. This is the time to take action. Don't wait till it's too late. The time to prepare is right now, to be proactive, not reactive. You want to be proactive right now, especially if you have an income, especially if you have the means and the ability to prepare. You should be doing it right now. If not for you, do it for your kids. But I see trouble ahead. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think things are just going to get better? Maybe they get better for a little bit, but the underlying damage, we're not looking at the iceberg under the water. We're just looking at the tip of the iceberg. We're not looking at the foundation of this house, which is crumbling. You know, people can say, hey, people are at the restaurants, people are shopping, look at all the nice cars. Everything looks good on the outside until you dig a little deeper and look at the foundation of this house. It is infested with termites. The foundation is cracking, and a strong wind is going to knock it down. You better get ready for a major storm, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave it there today. Please be careful out there. God bless every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Please like this video, share this video. Let's continue to keep people on path, continue to get people to prepare, and continue to wake people up. Take care. God bless.